moment. I'm trying to get the link so that.
So that the server can join?
Yeah. Oh, it's already in the YouTube feed.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. This new bot is better than the last one.
Yeah, I saw the last one was kind of lacking.
Yep. Just a bit.
I just hope that this mic is the one picking up, not my webcam mic, because my webcam's not the best, as you can see.
Your audio quality is pretty good, so I assume it's the right one.
Okay, good.
Okay. So before I go into like the main questions, have you been diagnosed with, or do you suspect you have any mental conditions? Are you in a different mood than usual? Is there anything else a typist should know about your current state?
Um, well, I'm feeling pretty nice.
That's good.
I would suppose that I'm in a good mood. I wouldn't necessarily say that I think I have any conditions. I've never been diagnosed with any. I guess you could say I'm a tad bit tired, but I don't think that that'll affect anything.
Yeah, I wonder why.
Yeah, I'm pretty much snapped out of like my sleep state, so I should be good.
Okay. Just a moment. So, first question is, what do you look for in friendships? What do you typically talk about or do with your friends?
Mm. Now you see that's a hard question for me because that type of stuff is usually kind of varied. Like I mainly only have two friends, right? I'll be real. I have like some acquaintances, and I have some friends, but I'm not necessarily that close to them. Um, I would say that the close friends that I have, we more so just talk about life, play some games, joke around, that type of stuff. Um,
Okay.
how does one say if I just talking to the person, I think that they're, we're friends in that way. Like maybe I'll get close to them, then I guess I'll just talk to them about whatever's on their mind, their life. I'll try to learn more about them, just generally intrigued and see what type of person they are. But that's mainly it's mainly just whatever comes up if I'm actually close to that person and we're actually friends.
Okay. That sounds about right. Do you work or study? If so, where do you work or what do you study? Or is the main thing related to that something that you don't want to go into?
Well, for work, I'm involved in the stock market. I resell. I have an online business, and I also have a part-time job I go to 1 day a week. For education, I am in higher education. I have been since I was 14, been taking classes since I was 15, but I don't exactly know what concrete major I have. I've literally completed essentially my 2 year already, but I only have a few more courses left. But I don't really know what major specifically because nothing really intrigues me in that way. I'm more so interested in the more important things in life than what it is to study. I think that there's an inner layer of subjectivity when it comes to academia, and I think that unless you truly hit the hard subjects, there's always going to be what they want you to know and what's actually the truth. So I would say that me and academia have like a kind of iffy relationship, and I don't even know what I'd like to do when it comes to academia. I just know that I need to
Okay.
make money, so I just do business outside of it.
Um, I'll go into some of that a bit later. But for now, you said that you have a fiance.
Hmm.
Um, compare yourself with them. How are you different?
Okay. Well, that's very interesting. Okay, we're gonna get into a long, long list. Well, first off, the first thing that comes to mind is she's insanely sweet, and I tend to we come off very different. When I first met her, we kind of like have different, let's say, auras. Like, hard to explain. We have a different appearance essentially when we first talk to somebody. She appears open, but she's really not. Right? She appears like she's um, kind of like accommodating, and she's letting you in, but there's like a wall. And some people can see it, some people can't. But just because they can see it doesn't mean they can get past it. Meanwhile, with me, I tend to just come off as an asshole, you know. If you actually, meet me IRL, I'm probably gonna come off at least somewhat rude. I know it, but deep down, it's kind of like she has a soft side, I have a soft side, but our appearances are way different. She's a lot more impulsive than I am as well. I'm very like I plan and I make all these plans, but she will like be very impulsive. So like I kind of rein that in, but it also broadens my horizons in that way because I'm like, no, don't. I know that you want this, but this isn't worth it.
Yeah.
And she'll be like, stop being so constricting. Open up, like, okay. Um, whatchamacallit, I would say that I'm trying to find the right words. She's generally better with people. Um, I'm more so the idea guy and like building whatever it is that needs to get done, and she can actually like get people behind it, which get the context that I need, which I really like because it saves me a lot of time and a lot of effort, really. And whatchamacallit, she kind of opens up that inner sensitivity with me to where I can kind of like break that kind of stoicism that I normally project to people, and I can just kind of be more of myself. Well, she comes off as either like very shy if like because she's extremely shy mainly around me. Just if you know me, you're automatically gonna get the shy treatment. But around other people, she's not necessarily that shy, and she can tell them off, and it's always entertaining when I get to go in and just watch that. Cause like I'm an asshole by heart. Well, not really. It's more something I have to do, but it's something that I'm used to. And so whenever I see a girl that's normally super sweet to me, and all of a sudden she just tells somebody off, it's so entertaining. Like it's hilariously entertaining. Is there anything else that you'd like to know? Because I could go on. I just don't want to, burn a lot of time on this.
Um, I'm thinking of what to ask.
Alrighty.
How easy is it for you to feel relaxed, and what do you do to relax?
Um, well, it depends on exactly what you mean by relax. See, I generally find that easy unless I'm very in the zone. If I'm extremely in the zone, then it's kind of hard for me. Like if I'm devoting hours upon hours to working, it like I generally can work for days, on end because I don't push myself more than I have to. But whatchamacallit, at the same token, when I'm having that rhythm, it's kind of hard for me to break out of it in that way. And it's more so if I don't really know. Like if I don't necessarily know what's gonna happen next, like then that screws with me. Like if I'm gonna fail, I at least want to know that I'm gonna fail so I can account for it. If I'm gonna succeed, I'd like to know I'm gonna succeed. But it being up in the air, it's kind of like a yeah. So whatchamacallit, I'd go ahead and say, how do I put this? That what was the original question? Because I kind of trailed off there, and I want to make sure that I'm addressing the original question.
I don't remember the original question either.
Alright, then we'll just skip
I
past
think,
that. I guess
yeah, I
we'll
think
address
I
them.
think I got what I needed from it.
Alright, great. Your video is a little bit pixelated, by the way. I don't know if that would be me or on your end.
Um, yeah, I'm not really seeing that, so I don't know. I think it should be fine. It should be good.
Excellent.
Um, does your sense of morality ever deviate from what is normally accepted as moral? If so,
Oh yeah.
how?
Well, everything pretty much. I generally like. I don't. My sense of morality is very nuanced in the way that Um, I don't necessarily think that people are naturally born bad. I don't necessarily think that people naturally self-destruct, but I think that they take on certain traits and behaviors to do so, right? And normally I like to give people a little bit of a benefit of the doubt. You know, I don't just like to assume, oh yeah, this person just sucks. You know, they're horrible. But at the same token, you know, I don't like to have optimism that shouldn't be, um, how does one say, established in that situation when it shouldn't be. I'm very good at knowing, you know, who to trust, who not to trust. So it becomes like a point of just, okay, well, what exactly are we going to do? Like, are we going to go ahead and like be friends? Are we going to hang out? You know, are you generally a person that I like? Because just because we have differing views on morality doesn't mean I'm not going to hang out with you. But it will mean that certain things that are like very close to me will be locked off. Like for instance, I had a lot of standards for dating and you know, that type of thing. So you know, somebody could be my friend, but not necessarily reach that level. If you get my drift. It's more so like I know that there's certain. I normally don't really like to mind it because you know if a person's a good person, they're a good person regardless of some factors. But I'm also a realist, and I know the truth about people. I know that there's certain things that I have to look out for, certain things that I have to see, and I have to restrict it, you know, accordingly.
Okay. Well, we are very quickly approaching two types, and especially one of those types. So I will just continue asking you a few times, and if we have extra time, then maybe I'll try to figure out your subtype with some more clarity.
Sounds good.
How strong are your emotions, and when your mood changes, is it for an observable reason, or is it seemingly random?
Well, how strong are my emotions is the first one. I'd say that my emotions they're weird. See, there's times when I would say that my emotions on a particular subject are generally just not there. And there's times when I would say that they're very strong. It just mainly depends on that emotional sentimentality that it has for me. Like how much do I care about it, and exactly what the situation really means to me. Because I'll be real, you know, I'm not necessarily going to be like, oh, you know, a puppy, you know, just walked across my path. I'm about to cry, you know. But at the same token, if it's like a very sad event that let's just say pertains to somebody close to me, then you know, yeah, of course I'll be sad and I'll try my best to help them. I generally have a very like even though I'm more pessimistic, I do have a positive sentiment towards humanity as a whole. I do like humans. I wish the best for them, and when I can help them, I do want to help them. But at the same token, I whatchamacallit, um, I'm aware that you know, constrict, rein it, and when it comes to my emotions, I would say that I'm not. I wouldn't. It depends on what you inherently mean by for a reason or not. Like for me, it being for a reason may make no sense to somebody else. Like for instance, I may like say that I'm like one of the few places that I feel very strong emotions. Maybe like to a media that I really resonate with or attach myself to from like a young age, and to some people that may be like, whoa, what the hell, dude? It's just like a piece of media. But like to me, it's has a deep personal meaning to me. It's something that really means a lot to me. So I can garner a lot of emotions from that. Same with it when it comes to like messages from things, etc. So like if I'm like reading something or watching something and it has a message, I can truly like dive into it and figure out what it means. And some people would say that like, oh yeah, that's no reason, but personally to me that's a reason. And unless there's like an event that were to happen or like something along those lines, I wouldn't say that my emotions would shift like woo. Generally like, okay, my life's going well. Everything's going well in my personal relationships. I have no reason to worry when it comes to business. Everything's great. I'm not just all of a sudden gonna be like, you want to know what? Fuck you. I'm, I'm, I'm pissed. I can't explain why, but I'm just angry. You want to know what? I'm out of here. I'm not gonna suddenly just have that attitude.
I think that at this point, I probably know both your type and subtype.
Oh, really? I'm actually kind
Yeah.
of curious.
Would you like to know?
If you think that it would be better to keep going to give it more accuracy, then I can do that. But if you're very confident, then yeah, I'd like to know.
I think we're good. So I think that you are an FeN with gamma recombining subtype.
Oh, really? What's that? Because I'll be
Um,
honest, I never heard of the subtype gamma recombining.
yeah, it's the subtype system I've developed. It corresponds to TEN.
Oh, go on.
Um, it sort of fits with your with what you do for work or work. Just sort of your y- your general focus on um ventures that other people might consider risky, and sort of trying to capitalize on these things while maintaining this constantly positive outlook. That is something more associated with the TEN type, but you perform it more on a social level than on an intellectual level. On an intellectual level, you respond to things similar to how an FEN would respond to things.
How is that exactly? Because you'll find I ask a lot of questions, so any
Um,
information that you have, I'm interested
what
in
part
hearing.
exactly?
Well, okay, so you said that I take part in endeavors that would be considered risky, and then you said that I would generally respond to intellectual stimulation like an FEN would. How exactly
Well,
would a...
I didn't necessarily mean that you respond to intellectual stimulation like an FEN, um, but your responses to things on an intellectual level, as opposed to the role you perform in society, is typical of an FEN.
Could you
Um,
explain that?
it's more to a certain extent. It's more vibes than things I can easily explain. So, but I'm trying to figure out how I could explain it because I'm sure I will be able to. Um, one thing I will say right now, because I do realize this. Is there is little I haven't really seen so far any focus on SI, which would go well with which which would help in indicating that no like higher level layer of type that you have has much SI. Um, I haven't seen any like balancing out there. But what I have seen is a lot of a lot of outwardly demonstrated NI, and a lot of your discussion has gravitated towards that. So that and that's why the first types I had almost immediately narrowed you down to were FEN and TEN, and I realized after a certain point that that was because of type and subtype.
Ah, damn, that's actually pretty interesting. I've never heard this subtype system before. It's really unique. I like it a lot.
Thanks.
But I'm curious to learn a little bit more about the FEN with the recombining with the gamma TEN, because yeah, you know, it explains it, because those are like the two types that I'm like generally, you know, how does one say typed as, and it kind of like it's tossed, you know, like, hey, you know, you want to know what? You're FEN, and here's the reason why you're FEN. Yo, here's your TEN actually. I'm like, yeah, but I don't relate to 1D FI, you know, FI is,
Right.
I'm generally pretty good with FI. Nah, fuck you. You just don't know what you're talking about. Learn the theory, you know. It was like, okay, you know, so.
Yeah. Um, I think if you look at the structure of these two layers, you'll find that it explains a lot and it makes a lot of sense. I think that you have I think that you have strong FI informationally, but you might find that you don't allocate enough energy to it.
Could you explain that a little bit? I'm actually kind of curious. Like any type of, oh, I actually kicked something. Nice. Any type of any type of additional information you have, I'm down to just listen to.
Well, since I don't have my own type profiles right now. If you'd like, I can read off Golinko's section on ignoring FI and the FEN, and you can tell me what you think of it.
Sure.
I think you might find it interesting.
Sure, that works.
EIE is often not sure of the durability of his relationships with other people, thus he seeks a constant verbal or other kind of reassurance. He treats his contestants with much jealousy and is capable of predicting the development of their relationships over time, criticizes the manners and philosophical viewpoints of others, himself as either a loyal and devoted partner or a Don Juan. His sore spot is the reliability of relations with people whom he trusts. Those who have once misled him, he does not forgive. He is quick to take offense and can be vindictive. Prefers to keep at a distance from people. Often will greatly lower his own worth in the eyes of others, but is given into extremes and can as well narcissistically inflate and obsess over other people.
Oh, interesting. So, out of curiosity, so from what I garnered from that description, they're like the very ride or die people, or the very well, keep my options open, you know, depending on the person, their point in life, and they also, you know, are either like completely distanced or like completely get close, and they can predict, you know, how the relationship's generally going to go, and they can whatchamacallit, the same token, they are nervous about it, so they try to like make sure they guide it along the right path. But this can lead to kind of like a narcissistic singular outlook in that way.
Yeah, you could say that. Something you'll notice with the FEN in general is there is a constant focus across all parts of their life on two dueling extremes, as with the four dialectical types in general. But if you want to compare them with, for example, the SIF, what the SIF will do is often take the average of those two extremes, and for the sake of blending in or living more normally, they will just live according to that golden mean. The FEN, on the other hand, will choose an extreme and often stick with it, which can make them somewhat polarizing and even shocking to others. They do that more than any other type.
That makes
and
sense.
That's something
for me.
Yeah.
Like that's surprisingly makes sense for me. Yeah. Okay. Could you tell me a little bit more about the subtype, like about how the recombining TEN may make the FEN look a little bit different, and exactly what areas it could affect?
Well, first I'll just go into the recombining part. So this is related to the four communicative archetypes, which I'll upload a video on, hopefully within the next few days, explaining it more in depth. But the main feature of the recombining subtype is that they take in information from a lot of different sources and act as sort of the initiator of within society, choosing what to pursue from those many sources and maintaining this sort of diversity. And I think I kind of see that in you. It's sort of related to creative and DCNH, which I know Golinko typed you as. But In your case, the exact subtype you are in this system doesn't exactly correspond um, to creative. Interestingly, it's more similar. It's more a combination of that and dominant. Um, what it does is it applies it to the intellectual and the gamma sphere, which sort of creates this entrepreneur-like capitalistic focus, which is quite literally what you take a focus on with, for example, the stock market. Like there's a very literal connection there.
Huh. Interesting. Damn. Out of curiosity, how could you go more into detail about how that manifests? Like, okay, they're more interested in more entrepreneurial and business manners, but how I could how exactly say would that differentiate from somebody who'd be like TEN recombining with FEN?
Um, Such a person would probably would um their goal would be to be a sort of psychological humanitarian leader, um, exerting close influence upon a large amount of people to promote some sort of ideological cause. And the way that they would do that is possibly through, although I'm not completely sure, the sort of the almost gamma-like market society as a whole, and that's sort of secondary because that's how they naturally see the world intellectually. But I don't really see that as much with you. I see it in reverse, where the TEN is more the goal and the role in society, and FEN is the way of achieving it.
Ah, got you, got you.
Yeah.
Um, so basically, the person who would be TN to recombine to FEN is their goal is going to be to create that group, you know, and then by we use those practical and pragmatic means to make it to that future through the intellectual gamma sphere. And the FEN with TN recombining is going to um, kind of want to be, independent in the financial sense. They're going to want that type of freedom, and they're going to do this by kind of exploring the relations between people, and like that's could you go a little bit more into depth about that? Like from what I understand about, they do that through the relationship with people, but how else do they do that as well? Out of curiosity.
Um, they also do it in their ideological, philosophical, political positions. Often they will take very rigid, extreme stances on these, but they often, at various points in their life, as Golingo has described in one of his articles, I agree with this. Will have short moments where they radically change those views to something even maybe diametrically opposite to what they believed before. Um, and that's another way in which they're taken to extremes. Um, I'm trying to think of other examples, but I seriously do think that it's a common theme with a lot of the things that they do.
Hmm. Okay, okay. So the FEN is also going to take those extreme states and use that to boost to that goal. For that at
Um,
least.
you could say that, yeah, especially with your exact combination. Um, that would be especially prominent in this case.
It makes sense in the fact that what you call it, like so a lot of people were just like, yo, you have to be TEN or TNI, Model A, because you prioritize close relationships, right? And I'm like, well, yeah. And he's like, yeah. And you want to know what? You want to be financially free? It's like, yeah. He's like, yeah, you're a workhorse. I'm like, only if I have to be. He's like, yeah, so you have to be TENI. Caught you red-handed, you know. And what you call it? I never really got that. It was it makes sense, TEN being more of the goal, like for instance that financial autonomy and taking care and making an ideal place for the people close to me, that very much speaks a lot more volumes, like from what you're explaining than, oh yeah, dude, you just suck at FI, and yeah, you want to know what, you're just like, just just
Yeah.
just fuck you, just inherently just fuck you, fuck what you believe, that type of stuff. I hope you don't mind
Yeah.
if I curse on
No, it's fine. It's fine.
channel. Excellent. That'd be awkward. Oh well, he got not copyright strike. He got a strike for offensive language. Well, fuck,
Yeah.
Like, wow. All right. This is very informative. Do you have any more information that you could give me, or anything that you think that?
That's what I'm trying to think of. I'm trying to think of what else I could say, but I'm sure you've looked through like the information on both those two types.
Oh
And
yeah.
I'd like to give you more information on the combination of them, but this is all still a little bit like work in progress. So beyond the main points, it's hard for there to be that much to say. But I think in your case, it's pretty clear what you will end up being.
Oh yeah. This makes a lot of sense. How does one say? Honestly, I'm very impressed by this system that you've made. Because I'll be honest, that's my biggest gripe when it came to socionics. Is that I was stuck between those two types, and when those two types didn't make sense, I'm like, well, am I another type? Is it just like, 'cause I'm really not vibing with like the descriptions with these, and then like you put them together perfectly, and I'm just like, well, I can't argue that that's pretty much exactly my goal. It's like, yeah,
Yeah.
I go ahead and I know all these insights about people. I see how the future is going to develop, and I use these approach to eventually, make this pragmatic goal of, being self-sufficient. But I'm not pragmatic and truly self-sufficient because, oh yeah, that's the end in of itself. I do it, specifically for, that to kind of like have that family, take care of that family, and to take care of those people, and it kind of like it always gets misunderstood, but I think you kind of hit the nail on the head in that, it was never really my top priority, but it was something that I had to do in order to achieve what I liked. I had to become
Yeah.
more of this business-minded, pragmatic individual. And don't get me wrong, I like to do it. I like, when it pays off. But like, if you, for instance, gave me like 200 grand right now, I would never work again in my life, and I'd never even look at
Yeah.
this type of stuff again.
Well, that works out perfectly because the thing about subtype is that it's determined by it's changed according to social pressure and what is necessary for you, and sort of the tone that society sets for you. That's how subtype changes. So what you said makes perfect sense and further confirms this.
Oh wow, you did a great job. That's all I got to say. I'm impressed. I'm
Yeah.
very impressed. I'll definitely be following your system.
Cool, that's good.
Is there anything else, any more information that you would like to add, or anything that you just think I should know?
I can't think of anything right now, but I'll tell you if I think of anything else that I'd like for you to know.
Excellent.
It's just sad. The chat's dead.
The chat's
Go on.
dead. What was the chat saying? I'm kind of curious because I don't see the chat replays. It's like if you could actually copy paste the chat replay, if like
No,
there's any
there's absolutely nothing, and usually there's some discussion going on, but there's just nothing right now. It's
Well, sorry guys, sorry I wasn't worth the discussion. you know. Um, but yeah, this was fun, and if I have any more questions, I'll definitely ask you about it. But thanks,
Yeah.
it was very informative, and yeah, you have my support with this system.
perfect. Great.
Very very intrigued how this is going to develop. Thank you.
Oh, hello with the dank mayonnaise.
Hello. Nice to see you this fine evening, but unfortunately, you're reaching the end of our program. If you'd like, leave a like, subscribe, leave a comment, perhaps, showing your support for the channel. I have to give you that plug real quick.
Yeah.
And don't forget to share with your friends, because your friends are probably going to be interested in this new psychoanalytic system that they're probably going to be like, whoa, that's so cool. I want to get typed myself. And how great would it be to have them up on screen? You know, like, oh
Yeah.
well, I
They're
guess
doing all the
I
promotion that I'm too lazy to do.
oh yeah, they're no problem. You know, so what you call it? Yeah, this is very very informative. I really liked it. I really really appreciate it.
I'm
Um,
glad.
what you call it? If you ever do need like a mod for the server or anything like that, I got your back. You know, if you
Okay,
ever need it,
thanks.
if it gets bigger,
Yeah.
no problem.
Okay. Yeah, I'll keep that in mind. Although I have quite a few already.
Oh
Like
well,
even
fuck
before the
right.
server launched, like a few people were coming to me like, "You have too many mods." It's but I just went with it.
All right. Well, I guess if I have any more questions, well, I definitely have more. I guess I should hit you with it now, because like, what? Why not? Okay.
Okay.
Um, what you call it? Um, so out of curiosity, when it comes to recombining, I'm kind of curious. When it comes to like other subtypes, like FEN, could they like be recombining, like for instance, FINE or like any other type, or is it exclusively to TEN?
Recombining corresponds to FES, SET, TEN, and NEF.
Out of curiosity, like how do they differ in that?
Within recombining,
Yes.
so it applies to different quadras and it applies to different clubs, and that's the main way of differentiating. Um, Basically, with club, that's the main one. You have to look at what sphere of information they are doing this consuming from a wide variety of sources, and creating um, and where they are creating these new approaches. And in your case, I think that's within the intellectual sphere, which is TEN. Um, with, for example, SET, they would still be trying to acquire logistical power and physiological influence, but they'd be doing it in a way by taking information from many different sources within that and sort of capitalizing on all of them, and sort of trying and gaining increasing levels of influence. I can't think of a good way of describing FES and NEF, but they do something similar within different quadras. For example, what I just said corresponds to beta. There's sort of a similar theme there, and they do this within different clubs.
Oh, interesting. Interesting. What else do I want to know? I think I'll just ask you in a PM if there's any more. That's the main thing I was curious
Okay.
about, Nicole. But thank
Okay,
you.
that
It's
works.
very
Yeah, of
informative, and
course.
thank you very much for the time. I'm
Thanks
glad I
for
was
doing
able to
this.
actually get up. Yeah. Like just
Yeah, that's
imagine if
good.
my alarm, and I'm, just like. Anyways,
I
yeah.
mean, I
Thank
get it. I'm not the best at arriving to things on time, so we could have easily rescheduled. But yeah, I'll let you go then.
Thanks, dude. Thanks.
Yeah,
I appreciate it.